What is up, basketball fans? Welcome to the latest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I am your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball, with my co-host, I Know Ball Paul. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, folks. It's a beautiful day in Boston, Massachusetts. And I want to start the podcast with a tweet that Paul sent us. It's from user VioletXNDS. And I thought it was kind of beautiful, and I thought it'd be a really nice way to start the podcast. And it says, the quote, "Fuck it, we ball," becomes far more weighty once we account for the pre-existing axiom that ball is life. For the latter effectively transforms the former into "fuck it, we live." And what maxim could be more gravely important than that which urges man to persist at all costs? So
Wow.
yeah, let that sit
Wow.
with you guys. Let that soak that in. Thought it was beautiful. So thank you, Paul, for sending it, and shout out to the user VioletXNDS on Twitter.
Yeah, big shout out. That's a modern day philosopher right there. Words that we can carry with us every day.
And I think this podcast, we try to challenge our listeners and really stimulate those brains. So anyway, what are we talking about today?
Yeah. So key things to talk about today. We're gonna, there's been a lot of talk about Team USA and how it's kind of a failure this year. And then current players talk about how they want to, make the Olympic team way better, put together a dream team. So we're gonna go through like what we think our dream teams would look like. Um, Probably not gonna have Bane. Sorry, I know that he gave himself a shout to try to get on the team. Probably not gonna make the cut. And we're gonna go through some hot takes. We have some of our own hot takes. We have some lukewarm takes, and then we have some takes that we fielded from some of our fans who are willing to text us on the side or email in or reach out to us on Twitter. All possible ways to talk to us. And just like give some of their own takes. We're going to go through those, evaluate them, give our own thoughts, and yeah, have a little bit of fun with it.
Sounds good. Yeah. So let's get into the Dream Team Olympic discussion. We kind of talked a bit last week about FIBA. We gave our takes, and we kind of mentioned how the FIBA World Cup is not taken as seriously, especially for the Americans, because it's kind of been a way to qualify for the Olympics, which is never really an issue for the Americans. And we tend to bring out the big guns when it comes to the Olympics. And we think this year particularly, even though we've always had great Olympic teams, but after the embarrassment and the humiliation once again at the FIBA World Cup, guys are itching to represent Team USA at the Olympics. So I came up with 11, and I kind of cheated, and like on some of them I'm like either this guy or this guy, but I have a solid 11. I do. How many did you
Yeah,
come up
yeah. I've got 12 right now. I'm not sure what is the exact number of like players allowed, but I
with?
think
Okay.
I think that's fine because I just have like my starters, my bench, and like two spots that I deemed like the fun spots. Like these guys probably won't play as much, but like we can like include them on the team. And then yeah, I also have like a position or two where I was like, could be this guy or this guy. Because there's like a player or two who I include. I'd be like, ideally we get them, but they do also have eligibility to play for another country. So it's possible that they don't play for us at all. So for players like that, that's where I was kind of like, I would like to get this guy, but if
Got it.
that ends up being out of the question, then I'll go with this other guy who's still great, but like not my top pick.
Awesome. I think I know who you're referencing, and I just kind of automatically assumed Embiid, if that's who you're alluding to, would not
That's
be
the guy.
USA because he's going to
Yeah,
join France. Spoiler alert.
is he going to join Team France? That's insane that he has Team France eligibility. Like, I don't know how that's possible.
Not really sure either. He's Cameroonian, so I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought like that was going to be the other option if he wasn't playing for Team USA. I don't know how it's Team France. Somehow it is.
He speaks French.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe there's
that's great.
some historical context there, but
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just take him out of my starting lineup then, and kind of go with the other guys I was thinking about for that spot.
okay, cool. Do you want to kick it off? Who's your starting point guard?
Yeah, I'm gonna do my starting. Well, yeah, let's do starting point guard then. So I thought it was pretty easy, like Steph Curry, like open and close case.
He's
Like
yeah,
he's the best point guard of our generation. And when like trying to assemble this team, like I really tried to think about like what teammates are going to play really well off of other guys. And like Steph Curry is like legendary for being the best guy to play with because he's just like a knockdown 3-point shooter. So good off ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hands at all times, like a lot of superstars do. He's just incredible, and he'd be a total nightmare for anybody overseas to try to guard. Like he shoots like 45% from three. I just don't know how they would deal with him. He'd be a nightmare. So I think he's easily the starting point guard, and like possibly the most important person to get onto Team USA.
Yeah, said perfectly. Totally agree on every front. Yeah, Steph Curry, he's so good, and just like such a
Cheat
night.
code, cheat code.
Like, yeah, no, I feel like some of the other countries, especially like the countries that aren't as good at basketball, and like they have some like guys playing in like second division. Steph Curry is like seeing a person from the future, like introducing them to like cavemen. That sounds kind of fucked up to say.
I think it plays. No, I'm with it.
You know what I mean?
I
He's like,
will.
he's so
I'll back
advanced.
up. No, yeah. It's like the style of basketball that like he plays is like it's revolutionary, like the game all across the world, but it also hasn't like caught up everywhere. It kind of like takes a generation to catch up.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just on another level. Like his ability of like shooting, off ball play, range, shooting off the dribble. It's just like ridiculous.
Yeah. Nobody can guard him. Who's your two?
For two, I went with, and this is someone who I also thought like they potentially could come off the bench. I really like them in the starting lineup. I went with Booker because Booker is also such a good shooter, plays really well off of other superstars. And kind of as he alluded to on Twitter, like he's played the role before of, essentially a role player. Like when he was in college and playing for that, I think it was Kentucky team that also had like Willie Cauley-Stein, Karl Anthony Towns, and I think there was one other like NBA stud on that team. But regardless, like he was like the sixth man on that team and
Willie
ended up
Cauley
getting
Stein.
picked up. I already said Willie Cauley-Stein. Thank you though. There's one other guy.
Oh yeah.
Was it D'Lo? Did I make that up?
Yeah, no, D'Lo is
It
Ohio.
must. It must. Oh yeah.
It's
He
like
was
the
Ohio
Harrison
State.
twins, I remember.
There was one other guy. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this, but regardless, like he's done the role player role before and he's really good at it. So I think he'd be an awesome starting shooting guard here. He can play off ball. Great 3-point shooter. I think he slides in perfectly here.
Trey Lyles, maybe.
Oh, it was Trey Lyles, I think. Wow. Wow.
Tyler
Lyles
Hero.
and Cauley Stein ended up sucking.
Yeah. My two is also Booker, man. He's awesome. He's a pretty good defender. Um, yeah, can
Clutch.
really do it all, and it just seems like the position is his to take. Like, there's not that many great twos. I mean, Clay, I think, was the last starting, and he's definitely dropped off a bit. And Book is like clearly at his peak right now. So
Yeah, he's kind of like the next one because like I feel like the other big shooting guards. We've got like Anthony Edwards, we've got Jaylen Brown, but these guys are like very like ISO heavy
yes,
shooting guards to where like I don't like their fit as much in the starting lineup.
completely agree. Yeah, Book was a pretty easy choice for me.
Cool. Do you want to give me your starting small forward then? Switch it up.
Sure.
We're
My
probably the same guy again. Give it to me though.
LeBron.
Oh no, we don't, dude.
What do you mean, dude?
What the hell?
Fuck you. Wait, he's your four?
Give me your take. No, he's not starting for me.
That's
It's
insane.
my team. I'm not starting LeBron. He's like 40. I think they're better players. All right, but yeah, go off.
LeBron is the GOAT, man. He's Mr. America. He's, God personified. He is a man amongst mortals. I don't need to justify myself. No, I mean, he's getting up there in age, but he's still so good. And like, he just like, he gets grandfathered in, and like, good luck benching him, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right about that. To where it'd be impossible, essentially, not to start him. Just from like an optics perspective. Like if this is like Team USA, like LeBron's been the best player in the NBA the last 20 years. He kind of has to be in that starting spot. Um, I don't know. I'm taking the reins here though. I'm saying like this is my team, and I'm going to put together what I think is going to be the best starting lineup for Team USA. I think my starting small forward is probably who you then have in your power forward spot. Maybe not a guarantee actually. I have Tatum at my starting small forward spot.
He's my starting four.
Cool. That makes sense. Huge, awesome defender, insanely good 3-point shooter. To where it's like I think although he plays as the number one guy on the Celtics, I think he also plays well off ball. He just shoots it really well. He's a great player. I think he blends very nicely with the rest of my starters here.
Yeah, nothing more to add. I think he's a great four. Again, yeah, huge, good enough defender. I do worry with how the FIBA World Cup played out and how a lot of the teams go big and kind of traditional big and offensive rebounding. I'm like, I don't know. My starting 4 and 5 are could maybe to some extent get exposed by a really big other country, but I think the talent alone and the offense would just completely outweigh any risk of that.
I think so too. And I think as long as you've got like one big center to really like hold it down, but we do play those teams, we'd be okay. Like the issue this year is like we didn't have that. Like we were trying to have like Jaren Jackson Jr. be that. He was like literally the worst like rebounding starting center. So I think as long as you've got like someone in there who's going to be physically imposing, who can block shots, who's a good rebounder, like I think we'll be okay. Like I don't think we need to start like I don't know. I don't think we need to start like a center at power forward in order to be good in the Olympics. Like I think we'll be just fine with essentially two forwards and a center.
Yeah, LeBron's huge, Booker's pretty big. Like,
Yeah, you'll be fine. Tatum's like 6'10" also, so you're good.
and your four miss. Oh, I actually really don't even. I
I
guess
feel
maybe,
like I feel like you'd probably guess.
is it KD?
Yeah, it's KD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and kind of what I was going through with my lineup is like I just want guys who can all kind of like play off ball and shoot a little bit. So that's kind of why I went with like KD and Tatum because I think no matter who's kind of like taking the ball and driving, you're kind of always gonna be able to kick out to a shooter between like Curry, Book, and Durant or Tatum. Like that's like a nightmare on the outside trying to guard all of them. So I just think that starting lineup just like works perfectly. But if you wanted to put LeBron in there, I think that's also fine. And you
Yeah.
kind of have like LeBron lead the attack then, and then you have like Tatum, Curry, Book to shoot off of him. I think that works just fine actually. And like now that you mention it, I think it's kind of like a coin flip now. Like as far as like what I think is the better lineup, I'd be fine having LeBron in there. I'm fine with KD here. Honestly, like for Team USA, they probably both start just because I feel like it's hard not to keep them out of it because they're both legends getting towards the end of their career. Um, but yeah, no, I think all are awesome options. We definitely have some good options here for Team USA.
And did Anthony Davis round out your 5?
Yeah, he's my starting center.
Me too.
Which was also like it was weird looking at all the centers because so many of the best centers in the league like aren't going to be playing for Team USA.
Yeah.
Like when I was choosing Anthony Davis, I was like, he's great and all, but I was like, is this like the best we can do? I was like, do I not have someone who's like a little bit better than this guy? Davis is great, and like I think he'd be a total monster in World Cup play. But I don't know. I was like, I just hope for somebody better. But like Jokic, obviously, Serbia. It'd be fun to put Giannis there, but like he's Greece. Embiid's probably going to be Cambodia or France. I guess that's now a possibility.
Cameroon.
And like Cameroon. Oh yeah, my apologies, my apologies. And then even just like other guys, like there's like Vooch and like Karl-Anthony Towns is playing for the Dominican Republic. KP's not there. It's like literally like after like two or three centers go by, it's like Miles Turner is all of a sudden like the best option. Like there's not a whole lot there for Team USA.
It is funny. I think Cat may have played for Team USA in the past, but he was repping the Dominican Republic. Not sure if they qualified for the Olympics, so maybe he'll just switch
Good
teams.
point. Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he's allowed to.
I don't know. I think he should. Why not?
Why not? He's not on either of my or
And he's not on mine either. Not on mine either.
so interesting. So I think it's fair to assume that LeBron is your 6th man.
Yep. Yep. So like LeBron would be off the bench then.
And it's fair to assume that KD is in fact off my bench.
Yeah. So those are two gimmies. We both spoiled two of our forwards off the bench. Starting guards.
Who are my guards off the bench?
Yeah, you got.
Um,
This is how just give me your starting point guard because I like waffled on this a little bit.
I said Hallie just to keep
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. And the reasoning is he's awesome and an incredible playmaker, good defender, yada yada yada. But also I just want to keep some continuity between the FIBA World Cup and the Olympics, kind of reward that.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
like that.
kind of the guy of the future for Team USA in both the World Cup and the Olympics. So kind of give him that nod.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that, but I did not. Hallie was not my guy. I went with Kyrie here. I still think Kyrie's incredible. So I was like, just like give me somebody who's going to come off the bench and just be unstoppable, or to be another interchangeable part who can just be like lights out from the 3-point line. If you you need him to start with Curry or start with Booker, like he totally can. And I still just think he's incredible. I think he's one of the best point guards in the league. So give me him. And like the players still seem to love him. So I think he's a fine fit, even though he's had his, off the court problems.
And he's also kind of like that thing I said about Steph Curry. Like, I feel like to some opposing teams, he is just like, what are we even dealing with here? Like, I've never even fathomed these moves being able to exist. So, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine there would be a lot of struggles for some of these European teams to try to guard Kyrie. He's just so fast. Like if like the best athletes in the world in the NBA are struggling to guard Kyrie, it's going to be a struggle for the Euro League as well.
I like the pick. No wrong answers, honestly, as far as
Oh yeah, it's great because we're just going to pick like essentially like 10 of the best players in the NBA for this team. So like it's really hard to go wrong here and pick somebody who's like not absolutely stellar.
all right. It does get a bit more interesting here. Your other starting guard,
This
or
is this
not
is where I
starting,
kind of
your
gave
other bench guard, I mean, sorry.
yeah, exactly. So this is kind of be like my bench shooting guard. This is where I kind of gave a shout out to FIBA. I went to Anthony Edwards here, just for that, just kind of reward him for being essentially the best guy from the most recent FIBA World Cup. I thought he was great. I looked incredible. Maybe there's going to be, I think he'd be a good spark plug off the bench, but it doesn't quite give me some like the same capabilities that those guys do. Like the shooting and off the ball play is not going to be as good, but I think he's still incredible and going to be a fine fit here.
I also picked Ant just for continuity reasons.
It is
And
just sick. He's awesome.
he's awesome. And I just want him and Hallie and the other guys I'm going to mention too to kind of establish a core for Team USA. And
Yeah,
I
just
think
have him keep running it back for like, the next decade.
it's cool because like I was hearing that a lot of other countries do like a 3-4 year commitment for their players, and that's something the USA doesn't do. It's just like whoever wants to for that year, like just come into training camp and we're going to do our best in the tournament.
Yeah.
But Canada finally implemented a 3-year commitment, and like, hey, it paid off. So like, hopefully there's
Yeah.
that for Team USA.
Yeah, because it feels like Canada's just gonna like run it back with the squad they'd go in last year. And like it was great. Like
Yeah,
just like do like SGA, Barrett, and um I
Brooks.
don't know, yeah, Brooks, who ended up being absolutely amazing. Yeah, just run back that team. Like they were really good. Try to get Jamal Murray to join. That's the only guy they're missing.
Yeah, Wiggins. I think Brendan Clark, Corey
Yeah,
Joseph.
Canada's good. Yeah, Corey Joseph.
There's one
Important shout
more.
out.
There's another Canadian that I can't think of, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Hallie, Ant, those are my backup guards. Then I guess KD is one of my backup forwards. LeBron is your backup forward.
Yep. So I got
Leonard.
Kyrie and LeBron playing together there, essentially off the bench. So that leaves us both one more forward spot and a center spot.
Yes. Who's your other forward?
I went with, and this might be one of those picks where it's like, is this guy like a top 10 player in the league? Like probably not, but I feel okay at this point. With essentially like our ninth guy going with someone who's going to be a good role player, good shooter, good defender. I went with Mikal Bridges to kind of like continue the continuity from FIBA. And as I mentioned, like it feels like he does everything that you need a really good off the bench role player to do, which is like shooting, defense, huge. Like his arms are insanely long. He just feels like he's gonna do like the little things you need him to do. So I like him here.
Me too. I also picked Mikal.
Awesome. Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Yeah, he played so well, and he just proved that he was just like an amazing role player, that he can be super effective as like the third, fourth guy in a lineup and do all the little things. He's like such a stingy defender, such a good
Yeah.
shooter.
Yeah,
So
and he's done it for ages for the Suns. Like for the Suns, he was playing that same role for years, and he was amazing at it. Just like essentially being the best 3-and-D player in the league. And it was clear he could always do more, but like we need him to take a step back and just do the role player gig again. He's still amazing at it. So he's just like an awesome Swiss Army knife player. I think he's a perfect fit here.
and I also said Jimmy would be an awesome option here. Just Jimmy buckets being such a tough, like hard-nosed defender.
Yeah, and just be like an asshole to all like the Europeans.
Yeah. Like he would quiet down Dylan Brooks real quick, I think. So
Yeah, I consider him for the same reason. He's kind of my honorable mentions.
yeah.
Whereas like I love him just like for like the ferocity that he brings to a team, but ultimately I didn't grab him here just for like just for shooting reasons. Like shooting is important to me, and it was kind of an issue um, in the last FIBA. So I just want to make sure like we have our shooters and we have our rebounders. Like that was really important to me.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. This one's actually kind of interesting. So who'd you end up going with for your backup big?
I went with Bam Adebayo. That was my pick. Um, yeah, it's like again, it's the kind of like sticking with like the defense and rebounding theme, kind of with Anthony Davis. Like I just want to make sure like this is just a guy who's going to play hard on that end, get rebounds, play defense, play smart. He's also sneaky, like a really good passer, so he can also kind of help facilitate a little bit from the low post, run pick and rolls with our guys. I think he's perfect. Yeah, so I didn't get too cute here. I was like, I just know what I'm getting out of you. I'm going to take you.
He was kind of my honorable mention, but I ended up going with Miles Turner just because he's a bit bigger.
Yeah, I considered him. He was kind of like my next guy.
Yeah, more of just kind of the traditional big, someone that I think, Bam is super versatile and he's super strong. He can defend most big men, but I think Miles Turner definitely has just a slight edge over Bam at defending like post play and really those back to the basket bigs. He's just a bit taller, a bit better of a shot blocker. So I was like, yeah, Miles
Yeah,
Turner.
my only issue with Turner is like his rebounding is sneaky not great.
Hmm.
Like I don't think he's ever averaged a double double. I think he's probably a career like 6 or 7 rebounds per game guy. He's like kind of in like the Jaren Jackson Jr. territory, where
I
it's kind
think
of like surprising how bad he is at rebounding. So that's my gripe with him.
that's something I've never even picked up on. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of insane because like he's huge. He's like 7'1". Like you'd think he'd be an awesome rebounder, but like no, he's just not very good at it.
That's funny. Those guys that like are really great at blocking, sometimes it ends up hurting their rebounding. Let's see. I
Yeah,
want
and I wonder if that's what it is. It's like I wonder if because they go for so many blocks that they just get caught up in the air too often, to where it kind of opens up, the offensive rebound for the other team.
yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah. Yeah, I want to like do more of a deep dive into like if they're
Sometimes,
defensive
I will
rebound.
say though, sometimes I think they're just like soft though. Like when I watch Jaren Jackson Jr., he just gets like bullied, like he just gets pushed out of the way.
He's not huge. Yeah, he's like probably 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, he's got a huge wingspan, but he's also like he put on a ton of weights in his rookie year. I will say like, he looks like more muscular now, but he's still he's still a little skinny.
Yeah, he averaged 7 rebounds in 28.5 minutes last year. But Miles Turner, yeah, I just never picked up on that. Like in 30 minutes, 7.5 rebounds at that guy's size. Like, bro. Like
Yeah,
Jaren
not
Jackson, I knew was a bad rebounder, and playing next to Steven Adams, a bit less opportunity. Granted, all of last year Steven Adams was hurt, but come on, Miles Turner. What is that? 7.5 rebounds. And yeah, you're right. He's like hardly surpassed 7 at any point in his career.
yeah. I will say that like even like with that issue, he was still my next guy off the board. Um, but as I mentioned, that's also because there's kind of just like a lack of like American center talent. Like there's just like not a whole lot going on.
So interesting. I'm reading that Sabonis is 7'1", listed at 7'1", Miles Turner at 6'11". That's just a lie.
That is interesting. Sabonis, I also had on like my long list because I think technically, like, although like Sabonis just like looks like so Polish, he's like not. He's
He's
very much like
Lithuanian.
born in Oregon.
He plays for Lithuania.
Does he? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because obviously, like Arvidas is from there. Um, but like technically, he was born in Oregon, so I was like, could like, we get like Sabonis to play for Team USA? Like, I assume not, just because he looks like just like so Eastern European. But
Wait, you think they're gonna turn him away because he looks European?
no, but like,
He has
well, it's
represented
almost
Lithuania.
yeah. But it's almost like he was born in the USA. Like I'm saying, like we should get him to play for USA. Um, because like there are other people who have like parents who were born in foreign countries, and it's like they still play for USA. But like I don't know, it's almost like harder to like hide it with Sabonis. Like I feel like if we put out Sabonis with Team USA, teams would be like, this is bullshit. Like this guy is not. You're not from here.
Because I assume, why was he born in Oregon? I'm sure it was while his dad was playing for the Trailblazers.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I'm looking, he was raised in Lithuania.
That makes a ton of sense then.
He's represented them. I mean, I think he came over, it says when he was 16, to the US to start his basketball career. But yeah, and it's him and Valanciunas in Lithuania. They've got some other great pieces. Like
They're sneaky good.
I don't want him on Team. I want him on Team USA, but like Lithuania, it's cool how he helps.
Yeah, and like and I kind of prefer when people do go out there and like represent, other countries because it just like it elevates the competition and it just like gives me more teams to watch, Like when Team USA is not playing, it's cool to like turn on, FIBA. Didn't really do it this year because like the times are so crazy, but like, turn on FIBA or turn on the Olympics and be like, oh, it's like Lithuania versus Spain and there's like, 6 NBA players still playing. I'm like, this is kind of cool.
For sure. In a vacuum, would I take him over Miles, Turner, and Bam? Probably, but with the context of what you just said, yeah, I'll probably take Bam at this point. Miles Turner, man, you got to learn how to rebound.
Yeah, agreed. All right, cool. And then you said you like one more spot. These are kind of like the fun zones. Like these guys, like I don't know if they'll play a ton, but
Yeah, for me, honestly, it was Bam and Jimmy who I mentioned because, yeah, I was pretty torn between Mikal and Jimmy and Miles and Bam. So if I can add those two, I guess, to the end of my squad, sure.
yeah,
But maybe I would take a younger player for shits.
yeah, that's a fine idea. Like I like squeezed Lillard on there because I almost had Lillard on my bench, and then I was like, no, I'd rather go with Kyrie. So I kind of just put him on there, just have like one more like ball handler, point guard, just in case he's needed, like break glass in case of emergency. And then I thought the teams went to 12, at least that's what it was for FIBA. So then I also put Carmelo Anthony on there because technically Carmelo can still play and he's an Olympic legend. So get him on there and there's no chance we lose.
Yeah, I mean, I guess giving him the nod would be, a nice way to end his career. Maybe is he
Yeah, and
officially
not that
retired?
I think he's kind of forced into retirement. So I don't know if he's made it official or not, but like he certainly is retired.
Yeah, I feel like he's not officially retired because maybe
I
there'd
don't
be
know if he is.
more of a
Right? There'd probably be like a bigger thing about it, but also like I don't know. His year kind of like tapered off and like faded away to where I don't think like a mellow retirement is on the same level as like some other player retirements. Like I don't think it's like the same level as like when Dwayne Wade was retiring.
right.
I think it's
No,
close, but I don't think it's there.
yeah, he's missed the opportunity for a farewell tour because nobody's gonna really roster him at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been like a gradual retirement. I feel like it's a bigger deal when like a big player is like, I'm retiring now, and everyone's like, oh my god, like the league will never be the same. But for us, it's like we've like already seen what the league is like without Melo because he essentially hasn't played in the league for like 3 or 4 years now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, anything else we want to touch on? I was gonna read through the 2020 Olympic roster just for shits because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, do that. I'm gonna give like a couple shouts on like other guys I considered. And there's only a few others. Like the guys were on there, like Hallie, you have him on yours. I considered him. Clay just for shooting. It's like I didn't have him on there just because I'm not sure how back he is yet, but like I still like the idea of Clay on there. Yeah, and then I had buckets, Paul George, and then Draymond for the same reason as Butler, just for his ferocity out there. You know, talking shit. You
Yeah,
know, throwing some punches maybe. I don't know, but like definitely just get some shit talking going. So that was kind of like my long list. Those are the other guys I considered.
just yeah, knee the opponents in the balls or kick them in the balls.
Yeah, we need some kind of enforcer just in case, just to play the mental game a little bit.
I agree. Yeah, I second all those shout outs. All great mentions.
Cool.
Um,
All right, 2020 team.
yeah. So I guess in no particular order, just the order it's listed. They had Bam, D Book, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant made the cut,
Ew.
Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Keldon Johnson made the cut, Zach,
Excuse me.
Zach Levine, Lillard, JaVale McGee, Chris Middleton, Jayson.
JaVale. There's some wild names on this list.
I thought Steph Curry made the team, I'm sure he would have
He got
made it.
cut.
Yeah.
It's always possible that, like he got injured or something because I feel like that like usually happens where it's like we think this is going to be the team and then maybe a player like tweaks an ankle or something in practice before and has to like drop off the roster. I don't know, but there were some dark times after like the Paul George injury because Paul George snapped his leg in half essentially in the Olympic. I think it was a game. I think it was like a game because there's totally a video of it.
Yeah.
And pretty much after that, like there were players like that year who opted out like after that injury happened, and I feel like ever since then like less and less people have been willing to play because it's like in theory that is a risk. Like you're willing to play like competitive basketball that's like separate from your contract that's paying you millions and millions of dollars. Is it worth it? I think a lot of people are asking themselves that question after the Paul George injury. Obviously it was like a freak incident, like things like that are so rare, but I think it did take a little bit of time to get over that. And I think now we can kind of like, I think enough time has passed where people are kind of, ready to put the dream team back together.
Yeah, I remember watching that game, and I think I turned away. I didn't see it, but it was a scrimmage, I think, between Team USA Blue versus Team USA White or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it was something where like the post of the basket was like closer than.
The stanchion.
I wonder what year it was though. When did
It
Paul
must have been like, I don't
break
know.
leg?
It was a while ago. It must have been like what, 20, well, maybe like 2017,
2014 it says.
2014. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my, I feel old now. I don't like knowing that. Let's cut that part out of the podcast. Our viewers don't need to hear that either.
Okay, I'll do some editing. But yeah, no, last Olympic roster, not incredible. I mean, of course, you have the likes of Booker, Durant, Adebayo, Draymond Green, Damian Lillard, Jayson Tatum, but
Yeah, it's a good starting lineup. But like the bench is like an actual NBA bench.
yeah, Keldon Johnson and such. But hey,
Yeah,
they won
Kellen Johnson,
gold.
JaVale McGee. Hey, yeah, that's all that matters.
They won gold. And I think Olympics prior, I mean, I think LeBron was in every one before that.
Yeah, and like I'm sure Melo was on it. The legend himself.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, man. In the heyday, like all the stars used to come out, but like you said, I feel like it's maybe a bit less of a tradition, but I
Yeah,
think
and like that used to be like where some like the super team started. Like that's where like LeBron and Wade and like Melo, like kind of like and like Chris Paul also like the banana boat group like kind of became friends through the Olympics. So it's kind of like a good networking event too, also for the league.
yeah. Yeah, USA won 2020, 2016, 2012, 2008, 2004, 2000. Damn, we've like never lost.
Yeah. So we've been cleaning up in the Olympics. It's just FIBA that we've been struggling.
Yeah, we just don't care.
Yeah,
Oh,
fair enough. All right, well, part two this then, and then we'll do our hot takes.
yeah, we'll be right back with some hot takes in just a moment.
Welcome back, fans. It is time now to go over the hot takes you have submitted and some of Paul's and my own. We're gonna start us off, Paul. Should we do fan submitted? Should we warm up with our own? What do you think is ideal for podcasting?
I think we should get a bit philosophical first and say what is a hot take? Is it,
What?
you know, because and this is something I haven't even really figured out myself. Is a hot take something you truly believe and then it happens to be crazy? Or do you kind of acknowledge that it's a small chance of happening? It's probably not going to happen. And that's what makes it a hot take. I tend to think you have to believe it like 80%, even as improbable as it is. But I'm curious to hear your take on what really is a hot take at its core.
Yeah, I think as a hot take enthusiast, someone who gives a lot, often ones that aren't right. The majority of the time, they're giving a hot take. Like this is something that I truly believe. I'm like when I'm dishing out these takes, I'm like I stand by this, and like not only something that I believe, but it's got to be something that I kind of think that no one else is going to believe. Because when I'm giving out my hot takes, it's kind of something that I want other people to fight back and like disagree with, and then I have the receipts. So it's like I get everyone to disagree with it, and then a couple months go by, and if I'm right, then I get to say, "Look at this! Look at how awesome my take was, and how wrong you all were." Or if I'm wrong, then I just say it was a hot take. All right, like this isn't like no harm, no foul. So that's what I think it's all about. Usually something that you really stand by, but something that really goes against the grain as well.
Yeah, I think you said that beautifully. I will say, like, most of the time I fall into that first boat of like, I stand by this, and I'm saying this so that in a year I can rub it in your face, and then worst comes to worst, I say, hey, it's a hot take. But sometimes I do acknowledge how improbable it is, and I'm kind of like, I'm like, this probably won't happen, but I'm just gonna shoot it out there. So
Hmm.
it kind of toes this line,
Yeah,
but
and I think there can kind of be like multiple interpretations of it, and then and there's almost like different degrees of hotness also, because like sometimes we'll give a take where I'm like, I think this is a hot take, but I don't think it's like you know I have like differing levels of how confident I am in takes and I'll still give them. Like sometimes I'll have a hot take where I'm like, I'm not really sure if this is going to happen, but I can foresee this happening and it being like pretty cool. So I'll throw it out there. So I think it's a little bit like in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it needs to be like scorching hot to be a hot take, but sometimes it's good enough just to be like, I think this is like kind of interesting. Like, let me put it out there.
I think, yeah, you said that wonderfully. That's beautiful. And this is quite a poetic episode of the Harold McBasketball show for sure.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
with that, we're going to hop into some hot takes submitted by our fans. I sent out a message. Hey, if you've got a hot take, send it in. We're going to be shooting in a couple hours. These guys were clamoring to get on the show. I'll tell you what. So we'll give them a little shout out, and I've got them written here, so I'll say it, and then we'll kind of give our takes. Starting with Jacob, Mr. Stone, who wanted me to include his audio file. I'm not doing all that, Jacob. I just wrote it down. It says Derek White will average 16 plus points. How do you feel about this take, Harry? How hot is it? And
Yeah, it's I would say on the hotness scale, maybe it's not like absolute like burning me, it's not setting me on fire with how scorching hot it is, but it's definitely a take that feels improbable. It's like for that, I feel like it still counts as a hot take. I was looking at stats a little bit earlier. It's like, last season I think he averaged like 12 points per game. He was at 11 before that, and then like at his peak on the Spurs, he was averaging like 15 a game. But that was on a team that obviously had like a lot less talent than the current Celtics. If Derek White managed to average like 16 a game on a team that has like Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, I would definitely be impressed. But I think maybe there is a path for him to do that now that Marcus Smart is gone. So it could happen. It feels hot.
yeah, and KP, how much time is he going to spend on the floor? Marcus Smart, he was like pretty ball dominant for the player that he was. I don't know. On a 1 to 10 scale, I'd give it about 10 spiciness, 10 Scoville or something.
10
Scoville.
spiciness, 1 to 10. Like, isn't 10 like as spicy as possible?
Did I say that? I meant to say 7.
Yes. Okay.
7.
7.
What's the rating for hotness? Isn't it like Scovilles or something?
Yeah, Scoville's, but that like league goes into like the hundreds of thousands, I think. So
Oh,
like, yeah, we'll keep it easy. We'll do 1 through 10.
yeah, we're
I
ratioing
think
it.
I think I'll give it like a 5 because like honestly, like the way I view this is like it's not gonna happen unless someone gets hurt. So it's like it's just not gonna happen, or somebody's gonna get injured opening the door for that to happen, which would suck. We're not rooting for injuries, especially for our Celtics. If nobody gets hurt and it still happens, then like bravo, like phenomenal take. But I don't think it's gonna happen, so I'm not like too worried about it.
Wait, so a 5 to me, I interpret that as like 50-50 chances happen, so it's not very spicy.
Oh, I'm not saying 50-50 chance it happens. I'm just saying like not that spicy as in like it just doesn't really do it for me. I'm not like I don't know. Maybe it is spicier then.
Because for
I don't know.
me, how spicy it is as I start doing this, how spicy it is like
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of spicy meatballs.
how spicy is based on how probable it is to happen. But I guess for you, it's just
Hmm.
like the overall texture and taste.
Yeah, like it's gotta. I don't know. Like I feel like a good hot take is like I'm like holy shit. Like this is awesome. Like, this is like a fucking cool
Gotcha.
take. And like I feel like it's really got like go against the grain where I'm like
Right.
I don't necessarily know if like Derek White averaging like a couple extra points is something that makes me go like oh my god this would be like fucking crazy for the league if this happened. Like how did you concoct such like a fascinating dish?
I let out like an audible like like what is this?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna give it a 5. It just feels lukewarm. It feels lukewarm.
Okay, I hear you, but it's improbable.
It's also improbable though. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, thank you, Stone, for your submission. Speaking of lukewarm, Shane had the take, and he has some layers to this take, but he said Thunder make big leap and they make playoffs, which
Mm.
maybe to an average fan is a bit hotter. Although I think a lot of people are kind of hopping on the Thunder train. They see the potential with Chet coming back, but
Yeah, and like enough people are listening to our podcast where they're kind of listening to our points and realizing the people in the media are also starting to like take note of it now. Yeah, so like for me, like for the average McBasketball pod listener, it's not like the spiciest take ever, but I think it's definitely I think it's like an up and coming take, and like now is definitely the time to buy stock.
agreed. Yeah. Like if that was served to me at a restaurant, I'd probably say, "Can you take it back, heat it up a bit? It's a bit too cool." But like,
Yeah.
but that's
So so it
because
can be like the top seed. Say like Thunder, like #1 seed in the West. Now I'm like, now we're talking. This is like super spicy now.
right. I think yeah, 3 to 4 even is when it's pretty spicy. But making playoffs, like I think there's actually a pretty good
Okay.
chance that they
Yeah.
fall between 6 and 8. Like,
For sure.
so then Shane adds Wemby gets hurt and Chet wins Rookie of the Year over Scoot. So I don't know if he's saying just like Scoot was second, but whatever. Chet,
hmm
we'll just put it as Chet wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I feel like all of a sudden that's more probable because I read a report the other day that like as of now the Thunder, or sorry, not the Thunder, the Trailblazers are shutting down Lillard talks until the start of the season. They just haven't liked any of the packages.
Hmm.
So if Lillard's playing for the Trailblazers next season, like Scoot's case is gone because like Lillard's just going to eat up, a ton of his touches. So I could see Scoot's case kind of going away because of that.
Shit, and then if
And
Wemby's hurt,
and then eventually is what it comes down to. It's like, is Wemby hurt or is Wemby not hurt? Like if Wemby's not hurt, like he's gonna get Rookie of the Year. And if he's hurt, then like yeah, I do think like the next person to get it probably would be. I think it probably would be Chet. I think he'll have like a really good case for it. He's gonna get a lot of minutes on the Thunder. We've already like talked so much about how amazing we think Chet is gonna be. So I think it's a good take, and I think we had him top 3 when we were talking Rookie of the Year.
yeah. There's some other strong candidates. I think Asar being up there. Sasha Vezenkov, of course. I've said my piece.
Of course, the favorite.
Devonte or Deontay George. Fuck, I always forget his name. Utah rookie.
Yeah, the Jazz guy. Yeah,
Awesome
it,
summer league. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
for
some
sure.
good names.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's Brandon Miller on the Hornets, but like, I'm not like super high on him getting Rookie of the Year. We got another Thompson twin on the Rockets. I don't think he's gonna get the touches either. Um, so I don't know. It does kind of feel like the top 3 would be between Wemby, Scoot, and Chet. So I think fun take again. Like I don't know if it's not like burning me. Like it's not like scorching hot. I think it's a little hotter um, than the Derek White take, just because Wemby is such like an overwhelming favorite, and I think Scoot's probably like the clear second favorite. So I think I'll give it like a 6.5 on the
The
hotness scale.
is the way it was presented was Wemby gets hurt, so Chet wins. It's like you're taking out the biggest candidate, so
Right.
that's going to increase his stock. But if you just said it without the Wemby gets hurt pretext, it's pretty spicy, and I'd give it
Yeah. Yeah.
a
That'd make it a
solid
lot
7.
hotter.
But he is for me, yeah, he's the second best choice, second highest odds behind Mr. Wembanyama. And even if Wemby doesn't get hurt, like we've talked about, maybe them restricting how much he plays. First year of a dynasty in theory, so they're gonna, not be
Yeah.
super motivated to play him every single game.
Yeah. You could probably make a little bit of the same argument for Chet though. It's like obviously they're pushing for playoffs. Like they're gonna want their guys to play, but like Chet's also just like one of those classic builds where you just are worried about injuries. It's coming off a Liz Frank injury. Like he'll probably, I imagine he'll sit a lot of games. Like I expect him only to play like around like 60-ish games. So he might also miss a lot of games. We'll see.
Very true. Which is why I think Sasha Vezenkov will win Rookie of the Year at 27.
Right.
But
Right.
we'll
Yes. Yeah.
get into
That's a hot take. We'll get into our own hot takes later.
right, we'll get into our own hot take. So I'll transition then to what I consider a very hot take, and especially because Zach, I think, actually is willing to die on this hill.
Oh my God.
Like he really believes this, I think, with all his heart, and that's that Wemby is a bust.
What an asshole. Who says that? What the hell kind of take is this, Zach?
It's a spicy one. And
It is spicy. Like I will give you that. Like on like the spice meter, like this is definitely getting close to the top. Just because it's so outrageous. Like this is literally the best prospect we've had since LeBron. The media's all in on him. I'm all in on him. So this is a good time to Zach. Like it does make it a hot take.
with that being said, I guess what constitutes a bust when this guy has so much hype and he is being compared to some of the greats. If he doesn't make an all-star team, is that a bust, or like are we talking this guy's out of the league in 5 years? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it's he's like never an all-star, but he could be decent, he could be pretty good and have an NBA career.
Yeah, that's kind of where I would draw the line in the sand also. Like I assume it'd be like, maybe he's not like because especially when you're talking about like bust for like the first overall pick, like it's like I don't think anyone's gonna come out here and be like this guy's gonna be like Anthony Bennett levels of bust. Like I think the expectation is more so like maybe they're more like the higher end of top picks like the Andrea Bargianis, where it's like they still play for like 10 years in the league, but like there's more of like a role player and not really this like star guy who's making all-star teams, helping their team get championships. Regardless of interpretation, though, like it is a very spicy take.
Yeah. And so we thank you, Zach, for submitting it. What I will say is like, I don't think Wemby's going to be a bust. I don't think he's going to maybe live up to the incredible career that has been laid out in front of him. Like, I think he'll be an all-star, multiple time all-star. Is he guaranteed Hall of Fame? I don't know. Maybe
I'm all in.
You're all in.
Put him in the Hall of Fame already. I'm all in.
The Hall of Fame.
That's what makes a good take, though, because I feel like the good takes are like the really polarizing ones, and I feel like if you throw out this take, everybody's gonna be like, "This is stupid. I hate your take," which makes it a good hot take. The only issue though with like hot takes and like something you need to like keep in mind is like make sure you believe your hot takes, because if Wembanyama is averaging 20 points per game in his rookie year, everyone's gonna be hitting you up, Zach, being like, "Oh, is he a bust? Like, is this what you expected? Like, how do you feel now?" So that's coming. So be ready.
But on the off chance that Wembanyama doesn't live up to expectations, and I think there's a pretty solid chance that in those first couple of years he's going to struggle offensively a bit to find his rhythm. We saw that his shooting might not be up to NBA standards quite yet. It might be a nice couple of years for Zach, but I would assume that after those nice couple of years, when Wemby really starts to find his own, we'll be able to rub it in a little. That being said, like, I don't know. It's not. I feel like it's not really one of those takes that we can super hold over his head for whatever reason. It's
almost like so outlandish that like, yeah, I'm not gonna be like dunking from the free throw line, but it's so outlandish and everyone's so against him that if somehow Wembanyama is a bust, Zach can then like dunk on everybody else. So it's a great hot take for that. I'm gonna give this a 10. It's just like so hot. I'm with it. Great hot take.
Yeah, super hot take. Yeah, and just because like, maybe the offense will never like really pan out the way,
Yeah, maybe just like a 15 point per game kind of guy, which like, obviously for his expectations, like that's not like nearly enough.
Exactly. So
although it's not like I'm not expecting him to be like 30. Kind of like where I've drawn the line in the sand is like I expect him to average like 20 points per game plus for like his career. Like if he ends his career averaging like 22 points per game, like that's fine. Like that's kind of like what I expect.
For sure.
I don't expect someone whose impact to be on like the defensive end. Where like I don't expect him to score like 30 a game.
Yeah, completely agree. But yeah, like you, I'm very much in the Wembanyama boat. I see the potential obviously as a basketball player, but I also I love his personality. I love his take on life. He just seems like such a smart, ambitious young man. So I really hope he ends up being the face of the league one day. I do.
Yeah, it'd be great for France also, fellow Frenchman.
Would be great for France, and hopefully that he's able to join the Olympic team after a very disappointing FIBA for the French.
Absolutely.
Be cool if Embiid joined.
I hate that. I hate that he's eligible for the French team.
Would be filthy. I feel like there's some other players that didn't do the FIBA World Cup, but I forget. But yeah, Evan Fournier being the leading scorer is a tough bid.
Not ideal. All right. Next hot take. What do we got?
Another super spicy hot take. I think
Let's go.
Andy was hitting the old crack pipe before saying this, but I kind of love it. He says Sixers miss playoffs.
Oh my god, that's such a fucking wild take. Especially for like a team in the East, because I feel like the East like definitely shallows out after around like 5 or 6, to where it would mean like a team like the Hornets would have to like do better than the Sixers, which I don't know, maybe maybe.
Yeah.
If things kind of break right and like they trade Harden and don't get a good package back for him, all it would take is an Embiid injury and like the team would literally implode on itself.
That is very true. And just, Andy has some troll behavior sometimes. He's a funny guy. He did follow up by saying, "I'm not kidding." People miss playoffs. So we've got the double down. So I think that makes it pretty official. But I think you make a good point with how much turmoil the team's in with the new coach. An Embiid injury could definitely derail this team. Funny enough, like I think like they could just as easily be the number 1 seed. I mean, probably way more easily than actually missing playoffs. Like that's tough, especially with guys like Maxey
Hmm.
on the roster. But yeah, hey, yeah, if the Harden situation keeps going as it is, even though it seems like things are mending it themselves slowly,
Hmm.
and Embiid gets injured, which is definitely not out of the realm of possibility. He's very injury prone. Then shit, yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
super roster outside of those three.
Yeah, and they're definitely a team that's like open to a lot of variability. And we both had them like lower when we were doing our Eastern Conference rankings. Like, because they've kind of been like a perennial top 3 seed. I think I had them at 4. You had them at 5. You had the Cavs over them, which is also take I kind of agree with. Like, we're already looking at them being like a 4 or 5 seed potentially. So, maybe not a question like they slip a little bit into like the play in and then get upset there. Like, it could happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think this take is like insanely hot. Like, I think they're probably still easily top 5 seed. But I kind of love it. And if it happens, you'll look like a genius, Andy. So this is I don't know. This is the kind of hot take I like to see.
Yeah, it's like if a few dominoes start tipping, then like this take could actually come into fruition.
Mhm.
Extremely unlikely, but I like the creativity and kind of the
Yeah,
thought.
and like yeah, and it's a volatile situation, with like a new coach, the Harden issues, like anything can happen. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, and I think talking about the philosophy of hot takes, as much as Andy doubled down, does he truly think this is going to happen? No, but I think he's like betting on, betting on the hot take that if this does happen, man, he is.
Yeah, sometimes just like a feeling. It's like he's not saying it's like more likely than not that this
Yes,
happens, but he's saying that like he thinks that there's a higher chance of this happening than like the rest of the world thinks, which
yes.
is like enough to get this hot take out there. So I like that. I respect that.
I love how you said that. Yeah, it's a hot take is a feeling. It's something at your core.
Yeah, it's just like nipping at you. It's like I don't know why. It's like everyone's saying this, but I kind of think something's up right.
Yeah, it goes against logic, and you know that. You inherently know that, but it's a gut feeling. It's something innate. It's something true to your soul and your being, and something.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is why people get so like they get very like beat up when talking about their hot takes because like they are like close to the heart. They come from the heart.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it? Wow. Andy, yeah, that's a 10 for me as well. Him and
Yeah,
Zach,
10.
I said,
Phenomenal.
you
They
guys,
killed it. They killed it. You guys are the best. This is exactly what we needed.
the best of the best. And didn't save them for last, unfortunately. We've got a couple more lukewarm takes we have to
Tragic.
react to, starting with Sean, who says Pelicans miss playoffs, and he also gives the caveat because Ingram and Zion get hurt, which is something that in our Western Conference power rankings, I basically said verbatim.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what I will
But
say about this take is like, one, Zion and Ingram are always hurt. It's like that's not a hot take. And like, two, the Pelicans didn't make the playoffs last year. So like, this is like beyond lukewarm. Like, this is just like what it is. Like, this is the expectation. Like, I think the expectation right now is the Pelicans don't make playoffs. A hot take is like me having them top 3. Like, that's a fucking hot take. And like, all logic says like that's probably not going to happen. But I have a feeling. I just feel like it just might all click this season. So I have them top 3. That's a good hot take. This take, I'll give this like a 3. I think it's mid.
agreed. Because I had the same take. I think it's like decently hot. I mean, like, they were very injured last year. Even past, Ingram played like a particularly, even for him, he was playing less games than he usually does. Zion, what, he played like 25 games,
Yeah,
maybe.
and like maybe these guys like never playing. It's been like years of them never playing. Like it's not like it was like a 1 year thing of them being hurt.
I know, but I feel like missing playoffs still is like less probable than just making playoffs, or kind of being between, like 7 and 10. So,
Hmm.
I think it's a bit hot, but yeah, no, as far as, especially when it comes after that Zach and that Andy take it, I'm sending it back to the kitchen.
Yeah. All right, back to the kitchen. Give me another take.
This was the last take, and maybe the coldest, most disgusting take. And that's that Tim really thinks the Barons, his fantasy team, are going to win the championship. And this is after, 3 or 4 years of the Barons really being one of the worst teams in our league. So if Tim really thinks in just 1 year he can flip the culture and turn this team and take my trophy out of my hands, good luck, buddy. Yeah, no, this is an ice cold take. I'm probably assaulting the waiter and leaving without paying, if this is served to me at a restaurant.
Well said. Yeah, it is like a classic Homer take. This is like the Wizards on the offseason, like add Jordan Poole, and they're like, the finals run is happening now. It's like, all right, like it takes more than that after like a decade of incompetence and consistently finishing at the bottom of the standings. It just takes more than that to turn around an entire franchise. Like, this Bolton, but I think looking at the team on paper and still looking like the front office and the ownership, like I think the Barons are still like years away from recovering from the I don't know, I would say like past moves and ownership.
Agreed. Yeah, if they win, shoot me dead, burn me
Yeah.
alive.
But it's not gonna happen. So like we don't need to worry about that. Which maybe makes it a hot take. I don't know. Like maybe that does make it a scorching hot take.
Oh, true.
If no one thinks it's gonna happen, like maybe that does make it a really good hot take. But I guess the issue is like it's a homer take though, because it's his team. So
No,
it's like, is this like
good
is this a
point.
hot take because you think it's gonna happen, or is this a hot take because it's your team, so like you want it to happen?
You're kind of hurting my brain actually with this one. Because yeah, maybe it is like a 10 out of 10. Like it's so unlikely to even
Right.
like borderline unfathomable. I told him
Yeah.
it has to be based in reality. Like
Hmm.
you can't say Ben Simmons is gonna learn to fly or like LeBron is gonna give birth. You
Yeah,
know,
it's almost like a horseshoe thing where it's either like so cold of a take or so hot of a take that like somehow just like wraps around again and they meet in the middle. We may just be like unable to judge this and may just be like, yeah, it may be unfathomable. Yeah, the answer is just like NA.
it's a paradox. Okay, well,
Yeah, paradox.
thank you, Tim, because once again, stimulating our brains here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Possible. The Harold McBasketball podcast is what we're called. Anyway, yeah, I believe. Hopefully, I didn't miss any. I think that's all the takes.
Yeah, if we have any late submissions, maybe we'll review them at the start of next podcast as like a quick shout out. But
Good
but
call.
I but y'all did well. Thank you, fans, for all your submissions. We appreciate all of them, even the ones that were a little more lukewarm. It was fun. So we'll pull you all in the future and do a couple more of these.
For sure, absolutely, and as Harry said, leave some more hot takes in the comments, and yeah, we'll react to it at the start of the next show because it is fun to see other people's hot takes. And moving on to our hot takes, like it was actually pretty tough coming up with any because again, it's something you want to feel
Yeah,
and
it's like it's born of passion. Like usually like
right.
it's hard to like sit down and be like, let me concoct a hot take. Like usually it's like inspiration. It's like
And
it's
so
like yeah, I don't know. But
that's
we still did our best. We still try to come up with some stuff.
right. But I think that caveat is kind of important because I don't feel so passionate about any of these, and I'm not trying to like
I agree. Yeah, I don't think I'm dying on any of these hills. Like I'm not dying on these the same way I would die on some like my older hot takes. Like when I was like Kemba Walker sucks and I want him off the Celtics, and other people were like Kemba's amazing, you guys were wrong, and that take was amazing. I was willing to die on that. I went to my grave with that and was reborn a god. I
wait.
don't feel the same way about these takes.
What can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I checked out for a sec. I was reading my hot takes. What was the hot take that
The Kemba Walker hot take.
right,
That's
right.
like the hot take of like all hot takes. That started it all.
Yes. I forget there's debate if it was Harry or me that pointed it out first. I'd
Yeah,
like to
the
think we
the
were
the historians are still
I'd like to
reviewing
think
the scriptures to try to figure it out.
we were
It was
watching together.
yeah, I think so too. I think it was probably born of a late night conversation on the Kudre porch.
Yeah, and just somebody pointed out. I think most historians think it was likely me, just being the ideas guy, but
I think historians would think it's me. I don't know. That's at least what I think. Anyway, beside the point. Amazing take.
yeah.
Um,
We saw the
and
decline before the decline.
for sure, for sure. So I don't know if any of our takes today are gonna be like on the same level as that take, but I think we still have some good ones. You want to give us your first one, Paul?
Okay. This one I'm like for whatever reason, I'm decently passionate about it. And
All right,
that's
what you
just
got?
kind of like that. I think the Mavs are going to surprise. They're going to impress. That they're going to be like a fifth, sixth, seventh seed. I'll say fifth, sixth for the sake of the episode. Just Kyrie's going to carry this team to the playoffs. Derek Lively, the rookie, is going to be a great fit as that defensive minded center, a very athletic type. Grant's going to come in. He's going to be like a second team all defensive level. He's going to improve his offense, be more involved, just be the perfect like energy guy for that team. Dante Exum is going to come out of the woodworks.
God.
Hey, let me finish. He's going to redeem himself, his NBA career. Maybe they'll get a good trade halfway through the season. And just, the Mavericks are not going to crumble and fall. And they're going to do better. They're going to surpass expectations. And fuck it, I'm going to take it a step further, and they will win a playoff series outside of the play-in. They will win a playoff series.
Shit, that is spicy. I I'm not in on the Mavs, and like a lot of the media are, and like a lot of people think the Mavs are going to be, pretty mid this year because of their lack of depth. But I think it's a good take, especially like the add-on that they could potentially win a playoff series. Because like weirdly, they're a team that I think is gonna be bad in the regular season. But if they were able to get like a decent seed, like 5 or 6, and essentially get matched up with like third or fourth seed, like if they can get matched up with like the Kings or the Grizzlies, I totally think they can beat one of those teams because Luka's just a monster in the playoffs. So is Kyrie. They're both so clutch.
Yeah.
And especially when like close games come down to the wire, like those guys are perfect for closing them out. So I like that part of the take. I think it's a really good add on. And it's definitely spicy because I don't think the Mavs are gonna be good, but we'll see.
And that add-on was something I just felt in the moment. So it's true to me and my being. And they're a volatile team, but like you said, like in a playoff series, they're gonna, have the best player on the court a lot of times, maybe the two best players in some situations, and that can that's what wins playoff series a lot of times in those really close games. So I think
Yeah.
it makes sense as a hot take because of that factor.
Yeah, and the West is gonna be tight this year, so it's definitely possible that if they just have like slightly better than expected regular season, like just like a couple additional wins they can pick up along the way can be the difference between being like the 10th seed and like the 6th seed. Because last year, like all those teams were like the difference was only like 3 games essentially. So if they can
Yeah.
just get a couple of games, like it's totally possible.
That was like my super scorcher. That's probably the one I felt was my best hot take. Do you have
I
one
love it.
one that
This is
can
like this is like
rival
my yeah, this is like my super scorcher. Um After talking about our Western Conference rankings, I had like the Lakers at 7, and there was some pushback. There were like guys were like the Lakers had a great offseason, like this team's gonna be amazing. This team's gonna be like the top seed, second seed, third seed, like somewhere in that range. My hot take is like they just don't even fucking make the playoffs and they just suck this year. Um, I the vibes are like kind of off. Like I look at this team and I just kind of I see a path to implosion. I think it could happen. It's like all it takes is like one LeBron injury or one Anthony Davis injury for this team to just like sink and become an absolute mess. It's like they signed Gabe Vincent, who I think is good, but like he proved to be pretty streaky in the regular season. He showed a big time in the playoffs. He could end up kind of being a nothing burger. And then they just have like a bunch of guys who are like streaky. Like D'Lo, like kind of sucked for them. Like he's been like pretty bad the last 2 years. Hachimura super streaky, although he was good in the playoffs. But we're really banking big time on Reeves here. Like I don't know. I could see a path to this team is melting down.
I forget. I think I had them ranked like eighth or ninth, and I was even saying it out loud. I was like, I think that's a bit crazy. But yeah, man, they had a pretty horrendous start last year to their regular season where it was like it's kind of insane that they even made the playoffs, yet alone made the Western Conference Finals. Like, shout out to them, but I kind of
Yeah,
agree that it was a crawl to the finish line, and for that to happen 2 years in a row seems a bit outlandish.
yeah, and like some of the other signings are like they signed Christian Wood. I thought that was actually a good signing actually, but
Yeah.
maybe something's up with Christian Wood because nobody would touch him. So like maybe he ends up being unplayable. That was always a weird debate though, because we were talking about this like a month ago, and we were like, why is no one signing Christian Wood? Like, I swear he's still good. So I kind of think that's an amazing signing for the Lakers, but like, who knows? This is a hot take. Maybe he'll go the other way. I don't know. I just feel like there's still a lot of room for variability on this roster.
There for sure is. And the thing with the Lakers too is like the Lakers fans and Lakers media are very strong. They're very passionate. And like guys like Rui Hachimura, like I'm sorry, like he was great in the playoffs, but like I'm not willing to buy any of his stock quite yet, especially because right now it's a bit inflated with the playoff run.
For sure.
He was a super average, inefficient player for like a
Yeah, yeah,
amount of time in Washington.
yeah.
I
He was
don't
like a top 10 pick they gave away for free, essentially.
right, and I think he was worth a bit more than free, obviously, but like, yeah, not a very efficient player, and like I'm not really betting on him being consistent or like better than average even this regular season. I think he has great games, but like you said, he's very streaky, and I just don't think I think he's a very average player. Like I think Vanderbilt is far better.
Yeah, yeah, and they did just extend Vanderbilt, which was a good extension. But like the West is also just like really deep. Like if I'm looking at teams that I have below them, like I've got like Clippers, Mavericks, Timberwolves. Like those are all potentially teams that could have a good year and could surpass the Lakers if they end up struggling a bit more than expected. So it it's a hot take, but I see a clear path to it happening. Like I think it's totally possible. And even if they end with the seventh or eighth seed, like they could still just lose in the play in and essentially not make playoffs.
Yeah. I feel validated in a way because I feel like I was kind of touching on that a bit in our Western Conference. I just putting the Timberwolves ahead of them, putting the Mavericks ahead of them, and like, yeah, no, I love this hot take because I, in a way, feel it too. I kind of doubt myself sometimes because I do just generally not like the Lakers as a franchise, just being a Boston guy. So I feel like I
Right.
kind of root against them, which sometimes
Yeah,
manifests.
maybe it's a little homer take, but I don't know. I feel like we can like I feel like we can justify it. I feel like there's logic behind it and not just being a dick.
Yeah, and like it's crazy. Like I've heard the sentence like the Western Conference sweep. They're like, yeah, it was a sweep, but it was still a close series. I've
I
heard that.
closest sweep ever. Hang the banner. Hang
You
the
guys were
banner.
not even close. It was not a competitive series. I'm sorry. I don't care if some of the games were kind of close. The Nuggets were the far superior team. And like
Yeah,
when you win four, when you go when it's a sweep, it's a sweep. It doesn't matter. They are far superior than you.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and like that team's essentially the team they have now. Like they're not made like major changes to that team. Yeah, they signed like a couple other role players, Christian Wood, but the core is still the core. And I just think there's a ceiling on it. And not
Right.
only is there a ceiling on it, but I think the floor can also just drop out.
For sure. Yeah. Austin Reeves, overhyped, I think.
I
Great
so
player.
too. I love him.
He's not taking a huge leap from 25 to 26. The way he played in
Yeah,
the playoffs
if
was
if he didn't look like a frat guy and didn't play for the Lakers, nobody would care about him.
oh. Well, yeah, maybe that's a bit extreme. He's a good player
Oh,
though.
sorry.
He's a good player.
I think so too. I think so too. I had him top 10 in my redraft, but
Yeah.
and bargain contract still.
For sure. He's yeah, I want him on my team for sure. But yeah, I just think like people are thinking next step. He's gonna be even better. Like he's good. He was great in the playoffs. It's gonna be that same, efficiency scoring. Like in the regular season, it was the same when you adjust the minutes. So I don't
Yeah.
think another big step is coming.
Yeah, I think so too.
I
All right.
think
Do we want to? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to do like a part three essentially for like the last couple of takes here?
I just want to say one last thing about the Lakers, and then we'll part three it for sure.
Go
That
for it.
just to add on to the overhyped train, I think Gabe Vincent is also a bit overhyped.
Yes, yeah, totally.
I know you
He
said
was
that.
like he was so mid in the regular season.
Yeah. He's very streaky. He had a great playoff run, especially against the Celtics, but like, I don't know. That
Mm.
was just some
He's not changing your life. And I feel it in my bones that the Lakers fans are gonna hate Gabe Vincent. I just feel like he's gonna be super inefficient. And if they do make playoffs, like I think he's gonna be like unplayable. Like that just like happens sometimes where these like role players like fit a system really well and play well. and they kind of get overpaid by another team. They go over there, and like the system's different, and they just don't fit anymore.
Yeah, and he was lucky to have the ball in his hands a lot, and he was kind of like a second, third option with Miami there.
Yeah, he got blessed by essentially like Kyle Lowry and just like dropping off the map to where they just had to plug somebody in at point guard.
Yeah, but I do expect him to really disappoint. So I just wanted to throw that in before
Mm.
part three. This
Yep, I love it.
be right back. All righty, that Lakers take, I love it. I think it's pretty spicy too, especially with all the hype they get. So, yeah, I rate it, as the British say. They just say I rate
Love
it.
it.
They don't rate it. They just say I rate it, which means
Thank
good.
you for reading it. Hell yes. Okay, do you got another hot take?
Uh,
Lukewarm take.
sure.
Maybe we're migrating towards like lukewarmer waters, but
Yeah, we're migrating in that direction for sure. But probably still decently hot. Just this is kind of general, but I like the Timberwolves, man, and it's something that I weirdly had in my system last year, and I don't think it really came to fruition like I hoped. But I think they were solid for the second half of the season. But I just think Rudy's going to come back strong this year. Ant is going to really take that next step as a superstar. And then I just think they have decent pieces around those guys. Cat's going to come back. Obviously, I'm hoping he's going to prove to be the star player that we know he can be, especially after watching him for the Dominican Republic. Maybe not a super hot take, but I could see them really being a fifth, sixth seed. Whereas I think the consensus is more seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th.
yeah, like play-in zone is I think like the expectation. I think I had them 11th in our rankings. I think I'm like a little bit lower on the Wolves, but it's just like the West is like so tough because like
Yeah,
that whole like playing group is like kind of tough to rank because it can end up being so close. I like the take though. I think it's definitely spicy. Expectation is definitely like play in slash like potentially miss the playoffs as team. Everyone is beyond low on Rudy Gobert. Everyone just like obviously the trade sucks and like the trade can suck. That doesn't necessarily mean like Gobert is terrible. Um, I don't think he's great anymore, but I think that's kind of why it's a good take because I think there still is room for him to like bounce back, have a good season. People have definitely gone cold on Cat. A lot of people have gone with the take that Cat doesn't, he doesn't attribute to winning, like he doesn't help teams win. And obviously like Ant is amazing. I think that's like kind of the
yeah,
where I would like align on this take is that I think a big jump is coming from Cat. I think a lot of people agree with that after seeing him in Team USA. So like if he really makes that superstar jump, like I think that'd be huge for this team. Him and Cat play super well off each other. I think Gobert is still a question mark, but I think it's a good spicy take, especially because they've got some good pieces, but the expectation is still kind of that this team isn't good next year.
agreed. Yeah, I weirdly like Kyle Anderson. I think Mike Conley is still pretty good for his age.
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't think it's a super hot take. I think, like you said, most people just think Ant is going to really keep taking that next step. It's becoming like pretty obvious that this kid is like special. So, if that plays out with the team winning more games, it kind of seems obvious. Cat's coming back. He's a great player. So, maybe not the spiciest, but I think it's lukewarm and uh, that's it.
No, I like it. I like it. And I think it's a little bit above lukewarm because I do think like I think the entire league would be very surprised if we saw the Timberwolves end up at like 5 or 6 seed spot. That's like a very established like playoff team spot. Like usually we see that those teams kind of like tend to like consistently stay in that range. That would kind of be like the Timberwolves have arrived, and that this Gobert trade like has made them a better team. So I think that's also kind of like a big part of it is like, is this like the best the Timberwolves have been? Like we'll see.
Let's say maybe 6, 7 then. Just a slight modification.
No, say 5-6. 5-6 makes it better.
5, 6, baby. Timberwolves are
Hell
coming.
yes. Hell yeah.
Keep an eye
Hot
on
take. And
Luka
then
Garza.
yeah, and then love Luka Garza. Yeah, no,
Good.
classic super cool. He was great for what was it? It wasn't it was Iowa. Yeah, he played for Iowa.
Yes.
And they were awesome. I had the Hawkeyes going super far that year in March Madness, and I think they lost in the first or second round. It was very sad. Super disappointing that year. But he's fun. It's like he was kind of someone who I had when he's coming out of college, I was like, this guy might be underrated. Like he might be a steal in the second round. And then I kind of actually saw him play in like summer league, and I was like, this guy's just he's too slow for the NBA, but I do like him still.
Oh, well, they
Yeah,
re-signed Naz Reid, so I don't think he's gonna touch the floor again. But
yeah, he won't. Yep, Naz Reid was a good signing. Who apparently could have got more money. Could have gone to the Cavs if he had waited, but that's okay. He still got paid well.
I don't know why. I think I just stumbled across his college highlights one time, and I was like, "This guy's awesome. I'm
His
in."
highlights are insane. Luka Garza looks like an absolute beast in college, and like his 3-point shot looks good. Footwork is insane. Post moves are insane. Like just like the ideal college big man. But yeah, no, the game I think is just a little too fast in the NBA. Anyway, that's kind of a side tangent though. I like that take.
Luka Garza, most improved player. You heard it
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Ooh, I do have an MIP take if we want to go to that,
Please.
which I think is like my second of like my three takes that I think are like somewhat like valid hot takes.
Wait,
And what?
is it Obi?
No.
Oh.
No, because we already talked Obi. I feel like Obi's like not even that hot. I mean, Obi's probably more hot than this. But this take was essentially saying like MIP is going to come from the Wizards. Like it's going to be Poole or Kuzma. They're just going to like shot chuck so much, and there's no one going to be there to take away touches from them. That like one of them is going to end up averaging like almost like 30 points per game, and they're going to get MIP in like a landslide. That's kind of my take.
Yeah, what's funny is my mind would go to Tyus Jones first, who's going to have so much more opportunity.
Fuck no.
Tyus Jones is awesome.
Uh, Tyus Jones is not that good.
We have this conversation, it feels like every other week, but
It
he's
does. It does.
awesome. Don't sleep.
Great hot take, Paul. Great hot take. Tyus Jones, good player.
Like top, I don't know. I don't have a number, but yeah, Tyus Jones awesome. Better than Poole.
He's only like he's like a top 30 point guard in the league, I would say.
He's
Tyus.
better than
top 30 actually. Yeah, I'd say he's top 40 point guard in the league.
No, he's like top 20.
No, he's not.
Well, when you went back and said name, there's a bunch of starting point guards that are worse than Tyus Jones.
I don't think so. I don't think there are.
I think so.
Well, this will have to be a separate segment because we literally need to like. This is literally gonna be a segment at some point. I'm gonna write this down.
Okay,
This is
moving
gonna be a
on.
segment. Anyway, and like Poole was one who I was like leaning towards first. Be like Poole, he averaged like 20 points per game last season. I think like 16, 17 the season before. Big time shooter, big time shot chucker. I think he can easily get up to like 27 points per game. And if he does that, I think he'll probably get most improved.
Yeah, that's decently hot. I'm pretty hot on the Wizards. I think they're gonna not be the worst team in the East. That's my like super hot take.
That is a good hot take. I think everyone else does think they'll be the worst team, including myself.
I'm crazy, and I think they'll be like 14th. So
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, very spicy.
good vibes in Washington. I don't think Kuz though is capable of being most improved just because he's already kind of a great player and like already had the opportunity to really take a lot of shots, and like I don't know, I think there's kind of a cap on that. But Jordan,
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. But but also like Kuz was playing next to KP, so like maybe KP goes like maybe that does just like open up a lot more shots for Kuz that we didn't really expect him to take, and then maybe he will.
Poole probably takes more shots than KP.
Who does?
Jordan Poole.
Probably. That's kind of why I think Poole's the number one guy, because I think Poole's going to take the most shots in this team, and it's going to be his. But if there's a world where Kuzma takes more shots, I think Kuzma gets it. I think that's kind of how it'd go.
I'm gonna kind of hijack your hot take and say Tyus Jones most improved player. You heard it here first.
I hate this take. All right, give me another hot take. I'm over this now. You've spoiled it. You've ruined it.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Throwing this back at the chef.
Let's see. I don't think this one's not hot. Okay. This one I'm not super passionate about, okay? I don't really believe this deep down. I don't know. I should just act like I do though. Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Number 1 seed. Harden and Embiid. They're a great duo. Harden forgives Maury forgives Harden. They're best friends again. Harden and Embiid.
This is going against the Andy take. How dare you?
I know. And then just Maxey takes another step. I do really think Maxey is a special player. Like, I think this guy will be an all-star one day. Love Tyrese. And then just like Harden, maybe he'll take mushrooms and just like realize the bigger picture and be more altruistic and realize that it's bigger than him. And the Sixers, they have some good pieces around those guys. I still like Tobias Harris, Pat Bev. He will make any team better. Blanking on anyone else on that team, but Sixers #1 seed. Let's fucking go.
I like it. I think there's potential for it, and I think it does feel like things are getting better for the Sixers. Like when we were doing like our Sixers power rankings and doing like our Harden talk, like things were very dire at that time. Where like this is falling apart. Like they're gonna have to trade Harden. Like it sounds like Embiid is unhappy with the current situation, but if things get better and like all of a sudden it's like they're keeping Harden, it kind of changes my whole thoughts on the team. Like if they keep Harden, they still have Max, who's amazing, as you mentioned. He could even take another step with Harden still there. And Embiid, like we know Embiid, he was the MVP last season. I think if that team comes back, then they probably are a top 3 team in the East at least. And like I think there's room for all 3 of those teams to shuffle around a little bit between like Celtics, Bucks, Sixers. I think the expectation though would be like, Celtics 1, Bucks 2, like Sixers 3. I think it's probably what people would expect, but like there's definitely a puncher's chance the Sixers could take 1. So I think it's a good hot take.
Well said. Yeah. And yeah, they're volatile. That's the word that you have to use to describe them. And as much as this team could fall apart, there's also a chance that everything could go really well. Probably a better chance that things go really well. I mean, Harden's probably going to have to stay. He's probably going to suck it up, I think. And things are probably going to go well because he's extremely talented. Embiid is extremely talented. Maxey is extremely talented. Embiid, cool, man. You got your MVP. Now you can focus on proving that you can actually win. And Harden, I don't know, what it's going to take for him to want to prove himself as a winner, but hopefully it comes this year. Well, hopefully not in a way, because of course I want the Celtics to win. But yeah, no, Sixers, yeah, things work out. Things are sunshine and rainbows, and they end with the top seed or a top seed. The top seed is the official hot take, but like I could see them ending up top 3 fairly easily.
I like it. I think it's a solid hot take.
Right. That kind of concludes my like pretty spicy takes.
Yeah, I got like one more good one, and then we can chat like some other mini ones. But yeah, I really only like one more that I love. And it's that Jalen Green will be an all-star and Rockets make playoffs. It's a bundle, and I love it, and I'm going for it.
Yeah, I can hear the passion in your voice. I can feel it seeping through your soul, and I hate it so much. I disagree completely with both.
I don't know. I think there's a path to it because like I think usually I see it in like scorers stats when they're young. They're kind of like it's almost like a graph. So it's like, he started like 17 points per game, then he jumped up to 23 points per game. And I just think there's another jump there. Like I don't think he's plateauing at 23. I think he's going to jump up to like 26, 27 next season potentially. And then once he's in that range, it's like boom, all-star. Done.
You have an eye for these things, I will say. But I don't know. That team's gotten so much deeper. He is so inefficient.
I think it could change though. I think the offense is going to get a lot better. His efficiency is going to get better because they've been like a big time shot checking team. But I think with Ime Udoka coming, I think the offense is going to make a lot more sense. I think they'll use Şengün a little bit more to where he can kind of like get some open looks off of him. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do try to like run a lot of offense through Green because like you've got Van Fleet on the team now, who I think people are expecting to be the top scorer, but I could see them still like giving Jalen Green the ball primarily, using Van Fleet as like a really good off ball shooter. And then you've also got like Jabari to get shots up. Dylan Brooks is there. Then we go like 2-man game with like Şengün, Jalen Green. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think they'll also stagger Jalen Green and Van Fleet a lot, where he will still get like a lot of minutes where he's kind of the only capable ball handler on the floor, which I really like. And then obviously we haven't touched on this yet, but like Kevin Porter Jr. is now gone, which is like a lot of points that are now made available for this team. And I think Jalen Green is going to pick up a lot of those.
Yeah. I still disagree, but I think you're right in that the fact that they see him as a star, they see him as one of their maybe the best young talent on that team, although I think it's Şengün. But Yeah, I don't think he's gonna run out of ball handling opportunity all of a sudden. I think everyone over there still very much believes in him. I see the potential there too, but I don't know. I think they've just added too much talent, and that the system will just, I don't know, it'll start favoring Sangoon a bit more. And I don't know. If I was a betting man, I would bet that he stays under 23 points.
This is why it's hot though. I just feel it in my bones because I know like objectively it makes sense that like they add all this talent. They move to Ime, who's gonna make him chuck less shots. He's gonna share the ball more. You'd probably expect him to go from 23 like down to like 20, 21. But I don't know. I just think it's still possible. There's like a leap that he can take this season. And then also just like outside that, just like Rockets making playoffs. It's like one, the Rockets have no incentive to tank anymore because they don't have their upcoming picks. Like they're gonna try to win, and they have Ime Udoka, which is huge. And I just like think the starting lineup is going to be really good. Like I think Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, like say what you will, but like, he is a good defender and he was really good in FIBA. And then Jabari Smith was absolutely incredible in summer league. Like he looked like he'd taken a massive leap. I think he's going to be spectacular. Really good shooter. Mid range was awesome. He was taking off the dribble a little bit. Defense is great. And you pair him with Şengün. We've talked a lot about Şengün. I still think Şengün is like the best player in this team, of course. He's phenomenal. A lot of people think he could be MIP this season. He's also someone I debated saying like he's an all-star this season, but I almost don't feel like it's hot enough because I think there's a really good chance that happens. And then like off the bench, it's like you still have like Tari Eason, who's awesome. Cam Whitmore is looking like a really good rookie. And then they've got one of the Thompson twins. Like this team is just awesome. I think it's a really talented team, and I can see them taking a big jump this season.
Yeah, they still feel very young, very raw. I'll separate, like, obviously I don't believe this take. I don't feel it, but I can acknowledge that this is like a quintessential, like, this is a beautiful hot take. You know what I mean? This is what it's all about. And it's a very great hot take. And you kind of slipped in there that you think that Sangoon being an all-star is not that hot of a take. I feel like that is an extremely hot take as well.
Yeah, maybe it's also like one of those like show ones where it's like, maybe it's like a hot take to like the general public. But for anyone who listens to this show, like they would not be surprised to hear one
Yeah.
of us say that we think Şengün's gonna be an all-star. Because like this guy's like literally amazing. I think there's a very good chance that I think he'd probably average like 18, 10, and like 5. That's kind of like my expectation for next season.
Yeah. That would definitely make him like a borderline all-star. It's true. But there are so many great big men that I don't know. Yeah, no, again, I think it's a great hot take. I don't see either happening. I think there is a world where they make the play in, which I think kind of counts as kind of playoffs. And like, I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely give you a big tip of the beanie for if that were to happen, because again, I don't really believe in this Rockets team, but yeah, and you touched on it. I maybe a hot take again that I'm gonna hijack, but I don't. I think Dylan Brooks is like kind of he's convinced me.
You think he's good now? It's like I'm not like convinced, but like I'm willing to give him another chance after seeing him play in FIBA.
Yeah, hopefully Ime can maybe hone him in a different way.
Yeah, and I saw a video of him just like doing a practice run on Twitter the other day. And like as we all know, like these mean nothing. But like he looked huge. Like he looked jacked. Like he is enormous.
Yeah, he's an incredible defender. And I just saw like an interview with him I think after a Canada game, and I was just kind of impressed with like how he really seems to like say I have a personality on the court. I'm this villain character, but that's not who I am. Like actually, like I'm a pretty humble guy. Like I'm a family first guy. And I was like, oh wow, damn. Like he really seems actually very self-aware. Um, I mean, I kind of doubt he's like super self-aware with like some of the shots he's hooking up. Like,
Right, right. Different on the court though. Yeah. He's a different
right.
being when he's on the court. It's just off the court that he's different.
Sure. But yeah, no, I don't know. I kind of like this little character he's made for himself. And in a weird way, I do kind of root for Dylan Brooks, and I hope that he can. I like when guys are in the ears of superstars, even when it doesn't always work in their favor. It's like it's cool to see. I love Lance Stevenson. He reminds me a bit. So
Yeah, and I love a good redemption arc too. And it just feels like everybody's like so out of him. Everyone's ganging up on him. So it'd be nice just to
yeah,
see him, kind of prove them wrong. Anyway, I love that take. I love my Rockets take. I think there's room for one of those two to happen. Anyway, do you want to fire off, just like throw it in like tiny other takes you had that, maybe aren't worth like a ton of time to talk about, but just kind of like put them out into the world?
Sure. A quick one. Yeah, not super hot, but after seeing Franz Wagner play, I just want to like double down on like I think this kid is special. I kind of wish I put him ahead of like, dare I say, like Giddy and like maybe even Cade.
Ouch, not giddy, dude.
Dude,
I think he's
Franz,
well played. I think he's well placed, like right behind them.
yeah, I had him fifth. Um,
I think I probably could have put him higher though, because I think I probably had him at like
right. But he's
7,
averaging
probably. I don't
19
know.
points as a 20-year-old on super high efficiency. So I think he's going to come out average like 20 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds on like 55 field goal percentage, shoot maybe like 37, 38 from behind the arc, and like,
Hmm.
like borderline 50, 40, 90. And like from the floor already, he shoots well above 50. So,
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it.
and it kind of pairs with I think the Magic will kind of make the playoffs, which I think is like semi hot take. It's
Yeah,
decently
I
hot.
think it's hot. I think the Magic are due. I think everyone sees it's coming. I don't think the expectations happen this year.
Right.
But I think probably people are expecting it to happen probably within like the next like 3 years. I think that's kind of like the timeline.
I think him and Paolo just makes so much sense to me in my head as like a duo, as a young star duo
Yeah,
of Paolo.
Anthony Black looked really good too.
Yeah. Markel is an awesome piece. Wendell Carter Jr. just needs to stay on the floor a little bit more. And I've said my piece about Orlando. I'm hot on this team for sure. And very hot on Franz Wagner after that FIBA World Cup performance.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
All right, give me a mini one of yours.
Yeah, I might just. I don't know if any of these are like worth the airtime to like really talk about them too much. So I think I might just kind of like rip through like my long list here and just be like, here are some other things I was thinking about saying. Some are serious, some are not. But I'll just kind of put them out there.
Sure.
So one of them was Anthony Edwards top 5 MVP voting. That feels like pretty possible this season. Like I could
I
see him
literally
averaging just like 30 a game, and like there you go, he's like in the conversation.
I have literally the same thing.
Really,
I have that
great take, unreal.
and Hallie also. I said Hallie could also.
Hallie's definitely a hotter one. Hallie's a hotter one. I hadn't considered
Yeah.
him for that one, but definitely had Ant there.
And I guess you combine them and it's like a real spicy take. Both of them make top 5 MVP.
Yeah, very spicy, very spicy. We'll see. We'll see.
Keep
I don't
going,
know,
bro.
but I think it's possible. I think that's probably my only like good one left actually looking at these. Like another one that was like Scoot is an all-stars rookie year, but that only happens if they trade Damian Lillard. So I don't really know if that's gonna happen. We'll have to see.
That's a nice that's like another classic hot take where the reward it outweighs the risk, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Totally.
Good to put it out there. I like it.
Yep. Let's see. Let me just see what else we got here. This one I don't believe at all, but I was like Ben Simmons all-star, like maybe comes back and plays and is really good.
I swear to God, I also have fucking Ben Simmons is good again.
Oh my God. What a
But then
take. I love it.
he just can't score. There's no world where he's ever like a good scorer again. Like even at his best, he was like a 16, 17 point per game scorer. So I'm like,
Right. He's been an all-star before this. Like it's totally possible.
true. Dude, if he's even like semi-viable, like an all-star is insane. But if he comes back and he's just relatively good and he gets valuable minutes, that is a very hot take in itself.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he's gonna got like the runway to do it in Brooklyn, just because like it's gonna be Michaela getting a bunch of touches and it's kind of open after that.
Yeah, put us both down for that one, actually.
Deal. All right, Paul with the retweet of it. And that was
Awesome.
and these yeah, and then these ones I hate these other two takes, but I kind of just threw them down for fun, just to see if there's any shakeups of the East. I was like, Bulls end up being top 6, and Knicks miss playoffs. Don't know how that happened because I think the Knicks are gonna be good, and I think the Bulls suck. But like, who knows? Like the Bulls have a couple of all stars. Knicks like they had a really good season, but like can they replicate it? It feels like maybe they don't have quite enough talent at the moment. It's like who knows?
Yeah. I weirdly think the Bulls one is more likely to happen. I don't think there's really a world where the Knicks miss playoffs unless Brunson gets hurt. I think he gets
Mm-hmm.
too good. But the Bulls, I've always in the back of my head been like, if things click somehow, then I could see it happening. And like, they won their first play-in series or their first play-in game. And yeah, man, they do have potential, but like they were pretty healthy last year. Nothing's really changed. So it's like, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't think either will happen. Like I think the Knicks are good. I think the Bulls are bad, but I kind of just threw them down because I was like, I don't know, maybe. Because like the Bulls still do have like Vooch, Levine, and DeRozan. So although it feels like everyone's ruled them out of like even like having a chance of doing anything in the playoffs, it's like who knows? Like maybe they just click. Like those are kind of like three all-star players, so could be something. Maybe Patrick Williams ends up being good. Probably not, but people are still holding out hope.
He's young. I
Yep.
still I like Colby White still.
Yeah, they just re-signed him to like a decent contract too. So like clearly they also still like him.
Caruso was actually hurt for most of last year, so maybe.
Yeah, awesome defender.
Yeah, no, Caruso is awesome. He affects the game without affecting the box score for sure.
Yeah, totally. Do you have any other takes you want to put out into the world just so we can kind of like clip them and show everyone if they end up being right?
I've got a couple. So one being the Hornets come off to a really hot start and then crumble in disastrous
Hmm.
fashion. I know that's not
Like
very
Trailblazers style. Trailblazers are like the number one team last season for like the first 10 games.
right. Were you mixing it up with the Jazz, or were the Blazers off to a hot start too?
Blazers are also amazing. That might have been 2 seasons ago now that I think about it. I'm not as sure now.
Yeah,
Anyway, though, same vein as that. And then what is them kind of falling off, maybe like out of the playoffs by the end of the season.
yeah. Like yeah, I'll say they start off like first month or so they're like a top 3, 4 seed, and then by the end they're like 10th, 11th.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. I like it. Good
Um,
take.
and then the last one will be that the Nets disappoint. I don't know. Yeah, this one's not super hot, but they end up as like a ninth or a 10th um seed, just like maybe even just missed the play in.
Yeah.
Yeah, not super hot, but like I think they have a big hole at with ball handlers. Like Dinwiddie is like maybe their best option there.
Hmm.
I love Mikal, love Cam Johnson, but these guys aren't necessarily proven as being able to carry a team on their own. So um
Yeah.
there's a
I think
world
it's a
where they
good take.
suck, I think.
Yeah. I think I would agree it's kind of like lukewarm because I think the expectations are probably that this team is like not that good anyway.
Yeah,
I think expectations are probably that this team is around like 9 or 10. Like I think I had them at 9. I think you were lower and had them at 11 when we did our standings.
that's
Um,
funny.
so I think that makes sense. Like I think it's kind of the expectation for them. I think it would almost be like they'd overperform if they did make playoffs, but I don't know exactly what like the narrative is around the league for the Nets.
Interesting. Okay, I thought we were both hotter on them for whatever reason, but yeah, okay,
No,
that's pretty. All right, well, lame way to end it with that take. I guess
it's all right. We had tons of other
last take.
fire takes. Okay, yeah, yeah. Get off one more.
Wizards are not the worst team in the East. They
They're the worst team.
exceed
They
expectations, and then
they
13
fucking
or
suck.
14. Wizards. All
We
right.
we will see. I love that you're standing by that take because I think you're the only person that doesn't think they'll be last. So if it works out for you, there you go.
Pistons. Pistons are worse.
Pistons are better.
Yeah, no.
We've already done this debate though. We'll see. We'll have to see how just like we'll see how things go this season.
I will say I think you really know how to structure a hot take. I think you really understand it. You verbalized it so well what even is a hot take, which is something I've grappled with for years, but like some of your takes really I love them because like the reward really outweighs the risk, and it's like they're crazy, but like if you're right it's like so beautiful and it just makes
Mm,
it could really make sense, and like
yeah, totally,
you've
totally.
impressed
They're
me. You've impressed
yeah,
me.
they're born of passion. That's what it's all about. It's all about like the risk reward. You know, that's all part of the equation as well.
The Rockets one I think really embodied that. The Lakers one I thought was really good. You had a bunch of them. Yeah, even the ones you kind of at the end were like, man, I don't know, throw-ins. I was like, oh, those are like good hot takes.
Yeah, fans, let us know what your favorites are, which ones you disagree with. Let us know if you support any of these takes and you're hopping on the take bandwagon. You're welcome to join with my Rockets take or Lakers take. Um, but yeah, yeah, and of course, like let us know if you have any other hot takes, and we'll read them at the start of next week's episode.
Yeah, please. Last video did awesome. We got a new subscriber,
Hell
second
yes.
video ever, second. Um, you know, and I think my clickbait was on point for sure. But no comments. Comments are honestly the best. I'll take 10 comments over 150 views any day.
Yeah, yeah. If y'all have any thoughts on these hot takes, agree with them, disagree with them, want to let us know, drop a comment on the YouTube video, and we will respond. We respond on YouTube, so if you drop a comment there, we will have a conversation. We can hash it out there.
That wraps up, I think, episode 13 or 14. I've kind of lost track. It's crazy
Yeah,
we've
it's
been doing it.
the numbers are high now. We're double digits, so this is like this. There's a lot of counting now. It's a big ask to keep counting the episodes.
Crazy we're still doing this. I'm still
Yeah.
like, it's kind of awesome. And
No, it's been a good ride, and like the support has been amazing. So thank you all.
it really has. I know sometimes we joke about the views and whatever, but like it surpassed my expectations. I did not
Yeah,
think we'd be
it's
getting.
kind of awesome. Yeah, no, the expectation was like, yeah, we probably get like 5 or 10 views an episode, and like it seems to pretty consistently be around 100, which is like pretty awesome. So thank you all.
Thank you guys. That wraps up the show. And I think we've said it all. So God bless. Thank you all. And till next time.
Yep, we will see y'all later.